The most powerful feature of Photoshop Smart Object integration is the ease and efficiency with which you can make full site image updates. As you will see, if you edit the original image in Photoshop, Dreamweaver will indicate that the current image does not contain the most recent version. In addition to keeping tabs on the status of your smart objects, Dreamweaver also gives you the opportunity to edit your smart object in Photoshop, resave the web version of it, and update it in Dreamweaver all in one round-trip workflow. We'll explore the round-trip functionality first, and then discover how Dreamweaver monitors Photoshop smart objects once they've been updated. So here I have the gallery.htm, and I'm going to scroll down to find my banner graphic. There it is on the page, and notice that it's still synced to the original Photoshop file. Now, I want to give you guys, doing the exercise files at home, a little heads up here. If you open up this file and you see a little green and yellow arrow here, or a red and yellow arrow here, that means that it's not in sync anymore. Dreamweaver and Photoshop have a very tight integration, and if that file is moved at all, sometimes just copying it over to your hard drive can do it. Dreamweaver wants to update the most recent version of it, and sometimes that can be a little tricky. Now, we're going to show you guys how to update it and get the most recent version of it in just a little bit, but occasionally a bug surfaces. They do happen, and if that bug surfaces and it just does not allow you to update that image, then just go ahead and replace it to get a fresh one in there. You won't be experiencing this within your site. The only reason that you might experience it within this particular exercise file is because of the fact that exercise files are copied and moved in so many different places throughout the process that may throw Dreamweaver a little bit. But if that does happen to you, just go ahead and get rid of this one, place the Photoshop file again just like you did in the last movie, and you should be able to pick right back up that point in the lesson. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select this banner graphic. And again, it's current. The image is doing fine. There's no problems there. But what I need to do now is make a change. Maybe the seasons are changing. It was winter when this banner graphic was first placed on the page, but we got summer coming up now, so maybe we need to change it to reflect that. So to do that, I'm going to explore the round-trip editing features that Photoshop and Dreamweaver offers us. So with that selected, I'm going to go right down to my Properties Inspector, and I'm going to click the Edit in Photoshop icon right there. That's going to switch me over to Photoshop. Notice that it opened up the source Photoshop file and not the flattened JPEG. So if I go over here in Photoshop and look at my Layers panel, and I'm just going to close the Brush Presets panel here, I can see that I've got a fully layered Photoshop file now. So it took me back to the original PSD document, not the JPEG. Well, this is going to be a very easy change for us to make because I'm just going to turn off the visibility of the winter layer folder group and turn on the visibility of the summer layer folder group. Perfect. So it's a quick and easy update to our banner graphic, but really at this point, you could make any change that you want here. You could add layers, you could add text, you could add effects, you could brighten things. I mean, it's whatever change you want to make. All right, so now I'm going to go up and save this file. And as soon as that's saved, I can close it and I can move back into Dreamweaver. Now, when I move back into Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver has a little bit of a message for me. You'll notice that my arrow is no longer green and green. It's now green and red. What this is saying is, hey, this original asset has been modified since the last time you were in Dreamweaver. Oh, yeah, we know because we just did that, right? So Dreamweaver is basically saying, look, do you want the modified version of this? Do you want me to go ahead and update it? And yeah, we do want that. So there are two ways to do this. With the image selected, we could go down to the Properties Inspector, and you can see right here we have a little graphic that says Update from Original. So clicking on that would go out, find the most recent version of it from Photoshop, and overwrite our banner JPEG. Now, the second way to do this is to simply right-click. We could right-click our graphic, and we could choose Update from Original. And as soon as we do that, it's going to go out, get the most recent version of that, and it's going to overwrite our banner.jpg. Now, that's really cool because in Photoshop, we didn't have to do Save for Web and Devices. We didn't have to browse out and find this banner JPEG. We didn't have to overwrite it. All we needed to do was come right back into Dreamweaver and say, yes, give me the most recent modified version of that Photoshop. That also means that you're not required to go get the most recent version of it. If you've modified that banner, but it's going to be, say, a month or two away before you have to use it live on your site, then you just wait till that point to modify it. Now, the really good news is this is going to update it in your site no matter how many times it's used within your site. For example, go ahead and open up the mission.htm as well. If I scroll down there, I see that the change has automatically been made there and the graphic is synced up as well. So Photoshop and Dreamweaver are going to go ahead and sync this site-wide, and wherever you've used this smart object, you're going to get the most recent version of that graphic as soon as you update one of them. So from a strictly time-saving standpoint, the Dreamweaver Photoshop Smart Object integration makes for an extremely compelling workflow. When you add in the functionality of being able to create the graphics upon insertion, for many users, this workflow will quickly become the standard workflow. Now, one size doesn't fit all, of course, and you need to consider carefully whether you want to adopt this workflow for some or all of the images in your site. As we will see, this isn't the only integration that Photoshop and Dreamweaver shares, and it ignores working with Fireworks, which is another powerful web graphics creation tool, entirely. In the end, it's simply one of many options that you have available when editing the images on your site. That choice is a good thing, and this is a great choice to have.